Hello everyone and welcome to another roster review. Today I'm doing a roster review for MoonWoof. So if we check out here, he's just over 15 million TCP, 1 million strongest team power, and look at that. The last three that we've done, he's so far got the highest war MVP. So good for you, MoonWoof. I'm not making fun of you. The last two guys had 0. Not that there's anything wrong with that. He's definitely outperforming me in arena. Right now is 103, but has got him below 19, so that's awesome. Jesus, you got a really big infinity wallet too. That's bigger than mine. We're gonna see what he has for a roster here. All right. Well, first off, I'm glad to see that you're working on your web warriors. ISOs look fine. I'm guessing you're not running Doom 2.3, but I also appreciate how you rounded them all out, so that's good. I found that, like, for myself, like, doing 2.3, I would put a lot less focus on these two, and I built up these three. The only reason I touched them up was for the ongoing Scourge event. Oh, I also want to make this clear. Probably should have put this disclaimer in the beginning. I received this roster from him about almost a week ago. My bad. So it's probably changed a little bit since then. Why? What do you do? I mean, okay, 7 red. If you look at the symbiotes, they're supposed to be really good in Dark Dimension. That they were kind of like designed for Dark Dimension raids. So my issue with Symbiote Spider-Man is I'm just not going to use him anywhere else. For a while, I was actually running the 4 Web Warriors with Symbiote Spider-Man. I still think it does better than Spider Junk, but I had to build him up for the Scourge event anyway, so I just kind of forced myself to start using him. But the only person I know, well, that I know of who's used Symbiote Spider-Man was OMG, and he really makes it very clear he regrets that decision. So I hope it goes better for you than it did for him. Captain Sam, you can't go wrong with. He's a solid character. He's awesome in so many different ways. I'm going to take him myself. So there's basically 2 schools of thoughts on this. There's the one where, well, I want to get all the city because that's going to be the one that I'm going to do after the original 3. And the second school of thought is, it's going to take me forever to get into Dark Dimension 5 anyway. I'm going to build up who is going to help me in the raids. So I can't tell you which one I think is better. So I don't see anything wrong with this. Gamora, I hope you pulled that 7 red. Though she was really good for her time. I mean, she's still really good now. It just, power creep has made other characters preferable to her. As we saw earlier, your Infinity Wallet team, you got it really built up. So good to see that she's the priority there. Adam Warlock too, means 6 red. Empty Venom. Well, I'm getting the impression that you're typically more raid focused, which is good. All right, Doom, you're bringing Doom, eh? You just need that Belle Delphine's bathwater to get him there. I've heard that Doom is really good on the global part. It's just that he's really expensive, so I'm kind of hum-hawing myself. I don't know what's going to happen with the 5th red star now. I think that if you're going to invest this in Doom, you may as well get him to 5 red is what I'm trying to say. Alright, Doc Ock. Unfortunately, we have to use him. Oh, you already got Jubilee up. It kind of, I mean, so far, I see a global team here. Oh, she's legendary. Anyway, Jubilee is a good choice. Yeah, it looks like you went hard on your symbiotes. All right, and Kestrel, you're bringing Kestrel too? I mean, she's a solid choice. Even now, like, how long has she been in the game? And she's still, like, one of the best characters in the game. So, nothing wrong with this choice. I don't know how expensive she is, but, I mean, you'll get good use in her in the raids too, so that's nice. Ah, Minerva. Yeah, I brought her to Dark Dimension 4 as well. Don't recommend it. So, I hope you're not bringing her to Dark Dimension 5. It's quite the moon dragon. Man, I would have really hated to go against you in arena. So, I mean, these are kind of characters that I expect to see in everybody's roster built up. I mean, you got, like, your Infinity Wallet team, and then you have characters that you used on, like, raids. So, I mean, this makes sense to me. I'd say that's about on par with everybody else. I hope you pulled that and you didn't promote him there. Just not really good to promote people that you aren't, when you don't have all the yellow stars. It's just not really a good idea. Oof, 7 red Invisible Woman. I have another friend who has that. The thing about Invisible Woman, you got that event now, so there's justification to gear her up. But, like, she's a really good 5th to put on a lot of teams. I think a lot of people don't realize that. And so, like, with with the Avenger Tower. She gets put on as a 5th for quite a few teams. I have friends that used her in Dark Dimension 4 for the legendary nodes, and they swore by her. I only got a 4 red, so I don't have any real experience to tell you about her. If I pulled a 7 red Invisible Woman, I wouldn't be jumping for joy, but I wouldn't be swearing and cursing at myself is what I'm trying to say. Oh man, so skill military, holy crap. Well, I mean, you definitely want Punisher built up. I always tell people not to sleep on their Black Widow. And yeah, you got the Red Guardian, so I mean that's pretty delicious looking. I hope you have more of them built up. I'm also curious about your Misty Knight. Did you use her in Dark Dimension 4? Because with the low red stars, I mean, you might be using her in tech, the tech nodes. That's kind of lowish red stars to be using for raids. Nothing wrong with using her in Dark Dimension 4. I know some people did that. Oh, poor Colleen. That sucks. I mean, I bet you were excited when you pulled that 7 red, and it took forever for her to be like farmable. She was in that arena node for way too long. People were using her Dark Dimension 4, and that's really about it. Like, aside from her war defense team, she really doesn't have any other uses. So that kind of sucked. Captain America fan? See, I don't understand why some people do this. Like, I see this a lot. This is a very common thing where I see like the Ultron, and like if he was like level 75, gear tier 14, I'd be like, oh, okay, he took him up for Dark Dimension 3, right? And he was meta at that time, like it makes sense to me. But when I see like a half, like, so you put gold in him when they raised the level cap, you put some gear in him, you didn't take him all the way up to 15 though. Also the ISO, I want to add. And you put a red star in him. So yeah, I'm not judging you for it. It just seems to me like in this kind of game, like you take a character, it's kind of like a go big or go home, right? That you gear tier 15 him, you take him to 4 red, you can use him in Doom 2.3. I know people that have done that. With that said, I'm also guessing, judging from the rest of your roster, that you probably started to work on him and then he just was kind of lackluster, so you just kind of gave up, and I can respect that. This is where I'm a little confused. You have a gear tier 14 Captain America. You have a 14 Hawkeye, who's bigger than your cloak, I might add. But you only have a gear tier 13 Cull Obsidian. Like, I think you would have got, like, I have a 7 red Captain America. I definitely would get more use out of my Cull Obsidian. Even now, Black Order obviously isn't meta, but I mean, like, a big Cull is better than a big Captain America. I'm kind of wondering what happened there. Did you bring him to Dark Dimension 3? And your Scientist Supreme. I mean, this one, when Dark Dimension 3 came out, she was meta on the raids, and so a lot of people I know geared her up, so I could see something like that. I do know I have some alliance mates that swear by using her on at least one of the tech nodes for Doom 2.3. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of lowish red stars, but she basically just exists to flip the debuffs. But I'd really like to see you build up your cloak. I mean, 5 red, 6 yellow is pretty delicious. His ult is deadly as hell. He's awesome in the raids. Like, I really like this guy. So, I mean, I know that right now there's like a Mystic Crunch, but he's been out for quite a while, so I'm a little wondering why you haven't built him up. I hope you do at some point, because you know you're missing out. So any of you who've been watching my roster reviews, you know I always make it a point to call out people who invest who gear 13 their characters. It's a very small stat increase, but if you look at all the characters that he did gear tier 13, they're all from, well, with the exception of Cloak and Night Nurse, with those 2 exceptions, the rest that he geared tier 13, they're kind of from like a meta when like that was the highest you could get. If you notice that they're all like level 70 to 75, so I'm guessing that like he was probably using Vision in the raids, took him to level 75, gear tier 13, if that made sense at the time. If you check my roster, I got a gear tier 13 Vision. I can see why you did it, so I'm not going to call you out for that. I'm a little curious about Night Nurse though. I mean, I was using her in the raids. That doesn't mean you had to, but now she's really outdated, but I mean, you would have got some good use out of her. No sense in looking to the past, gotta look to the future. Oh, my boy Frankie would freak out over this. I'll defend your honor though. You seem to be more raid focused than war. The only war team I've really seen you build up is your Heroes for Hire, where I see in your big Colleen wing, your Misty Knight, you have Shang-Chi that you presumably use in the raids, and you built up your Luke Cage. So yeah, aside from those war characters, all your other characters, I either see them as like raid meta or like some kind of arena meta. Like you somewhat built up your Black Order, you got a really big Infinity Wallet. I guess you do have a skill military team, but that could have been from other things. It looks like you had your defenders built up anyway. I'm judging that from your Daredevil and your Jessica Jones, so this could be like a remnant of that. It looks like you liked Wave 1 Avengers anyway, and you could have been using him on the raids. Anyway, what I'm getting at here, unlocked Omega Red without spending money when he first came out, and I didn't actually get around to building him up till about, I think it was just about a month before his second pass around, and I got like cyber bullied for that, and I was like, I don't use him in the raids, so it's not really a point. But I'll tell you that with right now in war, if your alliance values war, you should try to give this guy some love. Like, they're like the best team. I know like Eternals are really good. They're a really good pair, those two. But like, if you already have Omega Red and you have all his friends, then you know you can do some really big punch ups. I've done 450k punch ups against Heroes for Hire. I have a good friend of mine who's done 600k punch ups. So you don't even need to go all in. I used to argue for hours with my friends online where they would get in my face because I had Omega Red built up and Sabretooth like just to match the health, and then the rest of them were just kind of like level 65, like level 70, and they'd be like, please build up your Sabretooth, build up your Silver Samurai, and I'm like, I'm doing 450k punch ups, like I don't need to. So I did to shut them up, and now I do smaller punch-ups because my guys are bigger and there's like less big Hero for Hire teams to attack. I think it's important to manage your resources appropriately, right? So if you feel that they're doing what they need to do, then don't work on them. But as it stands with war, I mean, actually I haven't really seen the other guys. You even have a 6 red Captain Marvel. Why is she so small? The disrespect. It's like you people want me to do your roster review and then you disrespect me by not having Captain Marvel maxed out. Oh well, she'll get a rework one day and then I'll have the last laugh. Alright, so we're getting to the point where like I can understand why these characters aren't built up at all. You might want to consider Strife if you're going to get Madeline Pryor. Hold on, I'm a little confused. You got 3 skill military guys built up. Why is Yelena so small? The thing with Yelena is that you're not going to get any use on her anywhere else. Actually, on that note, you probably brought him to Dark Dimension because he's really cheap. And he's level 76. Yeah, I'm kind of guessing something like that happened. And then maybe you're using him in the raids and you brought her to Dark Dimension 4 because she's really cheap. Okay, that's starting to make a bit more sense. I thought you were building up a skill military team. I mean, the fact that you've already put these resources into them, I'm not telling you to go all out on a character that literally has one use in one game mode. But I mean, like, at least take her to level 64 and consider her passive. I'd like to see you put a little bit more in it, and you can get some good use out of them. It gives you another war attack to do, and you don't have to throw in too many resources because you already have those guys built up. This is another thing that comes up when I do people's roster reviews, that I tell people to get your characters to at least level 60 so you can 666 them. I'm seeing a bunch of characters down here. Now, I'm not gonna fault you in any way for having your Mabaku or your Ronin or, you know, even Vulture like below 60, but like at this point, I mean, she Storm's level 55. Like, get her to 60, 6664 her. It'll help you out in Blitz, and then it makes more sense. Then you get a better idea of what the character is capable of. 5 red isn't bad on her, and the Uncanny team is pretty sweet if you have magic. You have magic built up. Yeah, you got a 6 red dagger, and you got good yellow stars on Cloak and Dagger, which are an awesome team. I really don't understand why you're sleeping on them. Who are you using in the Mystic? Okay, so I'm guessing that you're using Icarus, Cersei, Deathpool, Adam Warlock, and Silver Surfer. Probably that. Maybe you're using Maw sometimes. That's why you haven't found the need for Cloak and Dagger. I mean, if it's working, then it's working. And even though that's a little unconventional to me, if you already got a good working Mystic team that's getting you through what you need to do, I take back the comment about Cloak and Dagger. You will get other uses on them, like they are good in war. They'll be good in the Avengers Tower. I reckon they'll be good in Dark Dimension 5. Like I said, if you're not considering any of those game modes, you're not worried about that, and you just want to do your raids, you already got a good raid team. So yeah, I definitely take back my comment about working on them. Just seems a little remiss, but if you got something going, you got something going. So yeah, again, these are more characters that I would expect to see down here. This exceptional would be Lady Deathstrike. What are you using in tech? That's my question for you. Okay, so for tech, I'm guessing that you're using Doom, Doc Ock, Kestrel, and then you're probably rotating between Minerva, Nebula, Ghost, Shuri, and where are you, Misty Knight? Misty Knight. That's my professional opinion. I'm a little impressed you have the resources to do that. I do have alliance mates that just say that you need to have like 8 tech characters to get through, and if one of them dies, they just swap them out, or on each node they'll use different characters. Like there's different schools of thought. We did see your Scientist Supreme earlier. I just would like to add that Lady Deathstrike has a lot of utility. Like, she's got that speed bar rewind, she puts bleeds on people, she puts defense down on people. Her ult hits like a truck, even at, like, I started using Lady Deathstrike. I think what happened, I was like overseas on vacation when she came out, and I just didn't care. So I think I only had like 3 yellow on her for the longest time, and 3 yellow, 3 red, and I was using her in Doom raids. So now I'm on 2.3. I do have her at 5 yellow, 5 red. But it wouldn't take much to put in that 4th red on her. And if you just look at her kit, she's really helpful for that. And I mean, for your Weapon X team too. I mean, like I said, you got that Omega Red built up. I really like to see you using some kind of, I mean, make a 500k Weapon X team. And those 700k Heroes for Hire team that nobody wants to take out, you'll take it out and you'll be the hero. You'll help out with your war. Not sure what happened there. The X-Men need Phoenix. Phoenix doesn't need the X-Men. I don't know, though. I mean, you G15'd her, but you probably brought her into Dark Dimension 4, which means that it was legendary, so you didn't need Colossus. But, I mean, like, the fact that you already have her built up really doesn't take much to even, like, level 70, you know, gear 12 him. You know, maybe it'll help her survive a little bit longer to do what she needs to do. All right, well, that gives a little explanation to your Uncanny team. You don't even have magic built up. Well, the Uncanny team is fun. I use it to punch across on Young Avengers, but I can't ethically tell you to build them up. So, yeah, I don't hold that against you in any way. Okay, so Young Avengers isn't a thing because you don't have Maya at all. I can understand that. That's probably why you just had no interest in them. And they're a war defense only team. I know some people were talking about using Kate in the Doom raids, but I don't see it. Star-Lord T'Challa, I got him at 5 yellow, 5 red, and he dies in 1 hit on Doom 2.3, so he's a skip for me. You don't want to build up the rest of the Ravagers, understandable. Again, they're a fun team, like Uncanny, but I wouldn't call them essential, so I can respect and understand this. The thing that I'm a little confused about, and again, guys, this is like a few days old, this roster. You don't have anything in Ghost Rider, or Dr. Voodoo, or Morbius. You're either not concerned at all about the Scourge event, or you were expecting this to carry you. Which, depending on what difficulty you're going to try it on, I mean, I have no doubt in my mind that you have, by the recording of this video, that you already have Morgan Le Fay unlocked. I wouldn't doubt that at all. But like, you know, probably difficulty 5 or 6, maybe 6. You could probably do 6 with your roster. I think you could do 6, maybe 7 even. 8, I don't think so. You're gonna need a much bigger Web Warriors to get through 8, and you don't have your Dark Hunters built up at all. I know that Dark Hunters are like a war offense team. Normally, I wouldn't have gone too hard on them. I actually find them really hard to use in war, and that's my own flaw. I'm not saying that they're a bad team. It's just I personally don't do well with them. But the reason that I invested so heavily into them is because I wanted to get a bigger Morgan Le Fay. And as we know in this game, they throw curveballs at us all the time where they're like, oh, by the way, you need this character. By the way, you need this character. Like, they do that. They love to do that. Look how, for the longest time when people were starting off this game, we'd always tell them, you know, work on your defenders. get your Nick Fury, get your Star-Lord, and we like kind of do a progression like that. And I don't know how long like I just dated myself there, because I'd say probably like within the last 3 years you wouldn't tell people to do that, because there were other teams that were, you know, you'd say build your wave 1 up, right? Or some people were saying build your aim up. Like the meta changes. But now you need Fury, and people don't have him because they didn't get their Kree, because why would they? You never know when they're going to be like, oh, by the way, you need to have these characters to unlock this or for this event and stuff like that, right? So this is a game of resource management, but like I always tell players, like, don't skip on legendaries. You never know when they're going to be useful, and you're not skipping on it. I can see it. You're going to get Morgan Le Fay. I'm positive you already have her. I just mean that if it's within your grasp to get a bigger one, I think you should be trying for it. And it looks like your raid teams are all topped up for whatever doom you're doing. I would have liked to see a little bit more investment in your Dark Hunters. Another reason I bring this up, and I say this specific to your roster, is that it looks like you have been concerned about arena meta. And the Morgan Le Fay team is going to be an arena meta. Also looks like you at least put in the effort to pull red stars on these characters, even if you didn't invest any money in them, which is fine. I'm not telling you to invest money. You didn't even blitz hard on Walm, because with this roster, you could have definitely gotten into the top 1%. If not the top 1%, you would have got into the top 2 to 5%, guaranteed. It looks like you just did the milestones. So, I mean, that's your prerogative. It just, if you really want to keep up with arena meta, you know, I think you could have put a little bit more hustle in here. My parting words to you would be, this is a good roster. I can definitely see that you've been putting in effort, trying to keep on top of meta. Your focus is on raids, which is good. And so if I had any advice that I could give you, I'd say put more work into your web warriors. I'd also say to work on your Weapon X team. You don't have to go crazy on them, but just, you know, get them up to even 400k, and you'll be able to like take out those smaller heroes for higher on the vendor teams. Your alliance will love you for it. And I like to see you work on your Dark Hunters. We have no idea when Morgan Le Fay event is coming back, but you can have something prepared so that way you could get a bigger Morgan Le Fay the next time around. And with that, I am going to end the video here. So thank you everybody for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something from it. And if you're still around, please leave a comment down below. I'd like to hear what you guys are thinking. If you think these are too long or if they should be shorter, let me know. If you want me to do a roster review, let me know. I have another one coming up that's going to be coming out shortly after this one. It's another friend from my cluster, so stay tuned for that. And so my stream schedule is Monday and Wednesday from 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. where after that I hop onto my friend the Petroleum's channel where we play Monster Hunter Rise. We also have unscheduled streams that show up on Sundays sometimes where I just do Blitz and Chill. This Sunday I'm going to be doing the Scourge event. So if you want to check that out, come hang out with me. It's always a lot of fun. Otherwise, guys, we're going to end this here. So have a good night and we'll see you next time. Bye.